I'm Zach.
And we are here with Steve to learn about engineering with Darryl from the engineering department. Zach and I are like super close together. Unite. So we are wearing our masks, but Darryl and I are sitting a little further apart. So for recording purposes, we can have a little more flexibility with our masks, but just make sure that if you are in a situation where you can't socially distance, that you are wearing your mask like Zach and I. So what's your role in the engineering department, Darryl?
My position is the city civil engineer.
So what does that role look like, the city engineer?
We do civil engineering. It's the branch of engineering that specializes in the design and construction of structures such as bridges, roads, underground utilities. We have a GIS computer system that the whole city departments can utilize. It's the GIS system. That's our geographical information system. It's color coded. You can see the water lines, which are blue, the sanitary lines, sewers that are green, the storm is yellow. There's some magenta colored sewers that are a combination of sanitary and storm sewers.
How do you guys map it when it gets all out? How do you map it so it actually gets into that software?
That's a good question. Right along with civil engineering, and it goes hand in hand, is land surveying. We have land surveying equipment, and there's several types of land surveying equipment. Land surveying is an important tool that goes hand in hand with civil engineering. They're the first ones on site.
Could I ask, when you talk about land surveying, could you give kind of a description? Because I don't really know what this is. What does that kind of mean, and what are people doing when they're doing the actual surveying, when they're at the site?
So what we're doing with the equipment that we set up, we're measuring horizontal angles and vertical angles and distance. So each time we take a reading, or like we call it a shot, to a person, and there's usually a person with a prism, with a rod. It's usually two people. We're taking a shot on that point on the ground, and based on that data, we calculate a coordinate, and it's an X and Y coordinate, but also it has a vertical elevation involved in it. And we're doing a whole area, collecting data, and coding. We may be shooting an asphalt parking lot, and then a sidewalk, and a manhole, a power pole. We're collecting data on everything that's on that site. We'll take it back and download it into the computer software, and on screen it can come alive, the topographic survey that we've just collected data on. The technology has really made civil engineering and land surveying really interesting. Laser scanning, it's where they set up a tripod with a unit that does a scan, a 360-degree scan of an area, maybe a busy intersection where to actually put a person out in the street could be dangerous. But if we can set this machine up and do a laser scan, it's just shooting a point cloud, thousands and thousands of points, and then they go and take that and download that, and they can see everything in detail. So the technology is just changing rapidly for land surveying, civil engineering, and they're utilizing that in different types of engineering as well.
You feasibly get almost like a virtual reality, or almost a rendering of that area?
3D rendering is what that produces, and you can measure, from point to point, because you have these thousands of point cloud, features. So the technology is changing rapidly. They're using drones to do topographic surveys, and it's really neat. The city's been here for a long time. We have water mains that are from 1898.
Oh, wow.
That we, because we have new infrastructure and we have old infrastructure that we have to maintain. And if it gets to be so old where it's leaking and deteriorating, we have to replace it. Well, we found some old water mains along 7th Street a couple of years ago that was stamped 1898. It was a cast iron water main. So that gives you an idea how old a lot of our infrastructure is. And sometimes they let us know that it's time for replacement. Just this summer up Jackson Street, a couple blocks north of here, we had a sanitary sewer, which was about an 18-inch clay. They used clay pipe back in the day. Started deteriorating badly. The road started caving in. It created a sinkhole.
Wow.
But we had to replace about 400 linear feet of sewer main. So we had to hire a contractor to come in. That's work that we don't do in the city. And actually excavate and replace that entire 400 linear feet of sanitary sewer with the plastic pipes that we use today, a more sturdy pipe that we use for sewers today. And we replaced all that old clay sewer, and then, of course, you have to rebuild the road and then re-asphalt the roadways. And it's it was about a 3-week process from when we determined that it needed to be done, and it was an emergency repair. Eventually, we got it put back together and open the road back up for traffic. But a lot of people involved with that in different stages of the project. But it was, something that needed to be done right away. One thing to add to the land surveying is a picture that I have on my wall in my office, and it's a picture of Mount Rushmore, and the 4 presidents, and 3 of those 4 presidents did land survey work in their early careers. So the caption reads, 3 surveyors and 1 other guy. So it's George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln are the 3. Of course, Theodore Roosevelt would be the 4th. But
Are you interested in running for president sometime soon? I mean, you got the...
That's not on my agenda.
Thanks a lot, Darryl. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
What happens in the planning in the city and the design to help make all this work? And coming over to hang out with us.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for having me. I appreciate it.
We learned a lot about what the engineering department does, so I'm really excited to get to share that with everyone.